la famille.
Thank you, Anna. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming today. It's always great to be here. So I've been here a few times already. I work for Effilab. For those of you who haven't met me before, Effilab is an advertising agency. So we help companies acquire clients online, acquire leads, and also grow their sales through digital channels, mainly search engines, and social media marketing. So these are a few of our clients. I like to put this slide up to remind you that you guys might have different types of businesses, but the acquisition channels that you use are all the same. So Effilab, as a search agency, is here to give you advice and help you to know which is the right mix of media so you can acquire your clients. So just before I start and before it ends, I have a little tiny Lego face at the entrance of the room. So if you want to continue the discussion after and you have to leave quickly, please drop us your card and I can send you an email later on. So today the topic is going to be about how to acquire clients, and more specifically it's going to be about lead generation. As Anne-Charlotte told you, I see a lot of new startups and businesses who try to acquire clients through SEO, for example, but they don't necessarily use search engine marketing as they should. And me also, in my role as I'm in the business development team at Effilab, I also have to grow B2B sales. And we do not only grow B2B sales through search engine marketing, we also grow them through outbound lead generation. So I'm going to talk a bit about these two topics, inbound lead generation and outbound lead generation, and how you can kind of think about all of these topics. So first of all, I would like to ask you, the audience, can you raise your hand if you're selling a software product? Okay, interesting. And those of you who are doing e-commerce? Okay, so more e-commerce in the room. Okay, so this presentation is going to be more about SaaS, software as a service sales, and also B2B sales. You can also learn stuff if you're in e-commerce, but just to give you an overview. So the typical myth when you have a product is that the product sells itself, and that viral growth is enough to scale your business. But the reality is that working harder doesn't always work. You might try to, growth hack your way to success, but at some point, when you really need some scale, you need to find ways to create predictable results, and that's what we're here to talk about. So hope must die, and you must find a way to create a system that you can scale, so you can effectively grow your way to success. So what is sales and client acquisition about? It's about, okay, I'm on the right side. So it's why do we sell? So to create value for customers, and we want to create a process that is predictable in effect. Many organizations have trouble to close sales and to reach their quota. So we often ask ourselves, how do we do to grow ourselves? Should we hire better people? Should we improve our presentation skills? Well, the answer is more about lead generation. If you generate enough leads, you need obviously very good people to close deals and very good marketing. But once you have a lot of leads, you don't need to worry as much about the quality of your people, and you can learn as you go along because you're confident that the next day you will have leads to follow. When I say leads, it's prospect in French. So the real solution is to grow your lead generation, both in terms of quantity and in terms of quality. So how can you grow? How can you rapidly grow? Well, you can grow through inbound marketing, inbound lead generation. So, thank you, Anna. So, inbound is both word of mouth, it's also referrals, and it's also marketing. We will see later which inbound lead generation channels you can use. It's also about outbound. So you don't only want to have people coming towards you, you also want to specifically target customers that you want to sell to. And it's also about having a team of people who can take your leads and close them, and have people working on the success of the customers that you already acquired to grow your average revenue per client and to decrease your churn. So the key point here is that you should not focus on a single form of lead generation, and that different marketing funnels and sales cycles, such as marketing, inbound marketing for lead generation or cold emailing, will have different a different average deal size, a different sales length. So you must find the right mix for you, but use all of these strategies. So you will need to experiment and really find the right mix. It will be difficult for me here to give you the perfect mix. So how can you think about inbound more specifically? Well, you want a lot of leads because inbound leads, such as SEO and SEM leads, are usually lower quality leads than referrals. So you really want a lot, and that is going to take some time. Another part of inbound strategies is customer satisfaction. So it's something that is very useful and that takes time to build. High quality referrals usually convert much better, and the average deal sizes are much higher. Regarding content, SEO and SEA, I just want to give you 3 points on that. It's not free and it takes time. Leads are not always high quality, and it should not be something that you outsource to an intern. It's something that you should really focus on and try to do consistently for 6 months to 1 year at least before you start to see the first results. So the main advantages of inbound lead generation is that it's measurable, it's scalable, and you can create some pieces of content that will be there in like 6 months' time. So that's the main advantages. The main cons or disadvantages is that it's pretty difficult to, for example, if you want to sell a high-value product to a big company, it will be difficult to generate that type of business through inbound lead generation. So this is the main disadvantage, and you're also dependent on people finding you. And at the beginning, when you're just launching your product or your startup, you want to be able to generate revenue quicker than just waiting for people to contact you. So the reality is that on the customer satisfaction part, founders are usually pretty good at generating business, but very bad at keeping it. So on that part, you have to be very careful because it's usually harder to get new clients than to retain your clients. And you can usually, over the years, generate more income and more revenue from your existing clients. So my piece of advice here is that you should allocate some of your time or someone else's time to the satisfaction of your clients. I read recently that that some companies, for every 2 million euros in revenue, hire one person that's full-time dedicated to customer success and customer satisfaction. So what tools can you use to for your inbound marketing? Well, you can use SEO and content. You can use SEA through AdWords and Bing. You can use social. Once you attracted these people on your website, You can use landing forms, for example, to build your database. And once you have your database, you can use emails through your CRM to close the sales. All of these methods, you can use them to attract new prospects, and you can use them to nurture existing leads. So I must tell you that this doesn't happen overnight. It usually takes time, and you should focus on a few key areas to build momentum before trying to do everything. So a few important things to know is where and who is your audience, in order to choose, well, if my audience is, are professionals, maybe I should not do SEO because there's few searches. So it's knowing who and where your audience is. It's also being honest with yourself and seeing, am I doing these things well enough? I often see people who come to see me and say, well, I'm doing search engine advertising, but I know I could do better. So it's important to be honest and to pick a few areas, but do them really well, and improve and iterate. So I'm going to dive into search because I think it's one of the most useful methods to build awareness and for people to find you. So there's, for me, two types of search when you're starting your business. There's search engine optimization and there's search engine advertising. Search, you really want to be present when people are looking or trying to find information through SEO, and also when people want to buy through SEA. So I think it's interesting to do both at the same time, but when you're starting and you're launching your product, to spend more time and more money on advertising than on search engine optimization, because you will see the results quicker, you will be able to learn, whereas SEO will take more time. So regarding SEO, I must tell you, is not free. It costs a lot because it usually takes up a lot of your time. By doing SEO, so there's a lot of things about how to optimize your rankings and how to rank. I think it comes down to building great content, being consistent, and also building relationships with other websites in your niche. So that takes a lot of time. I'm going to give you an example of what you could do when you're just starting out, and just try to be consistent. One blog post per week, for example, one Facebook post per week. It could be 2 tweets per day and 1 guest post per month. Just doing that for a few months might yield you significant results over a period of 3 to 6 months, for example. So don't try to do too much in one period and after stop it all. Really try to allocate resources over 6 months, 1 year, and see how it works. There's a little search of the WordStream website. They sell advertising, like advertising management services like us. They have more than 15,000 search results. So they write about 1 piece of content per day. And that's a huge traffic generation and lead generation, inbound lead generation tool for them. But they've built it over many, many years. So that's what it might look like for you in a couple of years. When you write content, you also need to keep in mind the buying stages. So you have to create content about why your product or service, about how to use it, and about how to implement it, for example. But try to really differentiate your content and not always kind of do the same thing. On the advertising side, so it's a very effective tool, advertising, to quickly generate inbound leads. It usually also takes a few months before it gets really efficient. Why? Because you have to buy a lot of keywords and analyze the data before you take action and change your strategy. So I really want you to, if you want to do AdWords or do Bing ads, don't just try it out for 2 weeks and stop it. Dedicate a budget to it and a specific time frame, for example, 3 to 6 months, before you decide to discard it as a strategy. It takes time to optimize your account. I think that the main issues that we see as search engine marketers is that usually the quality of the account, if you don't hire a consultant that's specialized in search engine optimization, is not that great. And the segmentation of your keywords and your account is also pretty pretty poor. So you should probably ask for advice if you want to be great on search on search engine advertising. The other problem of PPC is that there's a very high competition, and the quality of the traffic is not always that great. So you might pay 50 euros, 100 euros for your leads or your sales, but they might be not very good quality leads. So you want to try it out and see how it works out for you. So email marketing also enables you to nurture leads. So once you've started by SEO, SEA, you will use email to build trust with your audience. It's a huge trust builder. So you should systematically do campaigns with inbound prospects. And you can use, for example, an autoresponder to really introduce people who are downloading your content to your product, probably over a 21-day or a 30-day period. Keep in mind that I put 1 week, one email per week can be great. It doesn't really, the frequency doesn't really change much. It must be compelling content and engaging content. That's the most important thing you have to know. You can use services as MailChimp or GetResponse. I personally prefer services where you can integrate your CRM with your sales and your marketing. So marketing automation tools, I think, are great for that, because things like MailChimp will enable you to do emailing, but it's not always to tie in your emailing and your prospecting, for example. And so you kind of have to find out the best tools for you and your business, but I advise you to try out a few and see which one works for you, because it can really change the performance of your sales team or your acquisition team. Another way to generate inbound leads is through social media. So the place of social media, it's not always clear when should I do advertising on Facebook. I think you should do advertising on Facebook to first drive traffic and awareness to your website. So it's more about content discovery at the beginning, at the very beginning of the funnel. And after, you can also use social media once you build your database. So let's say that you promote your content on Facebook. People come on your website, they download a white paper, or they fill out the contact form, and then you have their email address, and you can send them emails through email marketing, and also promote your services and products through campaigns on Facebook. You can do like campaigns and stuff like that, but ultimately, like campaigns don't really drive revenue. It's more about building your image, building your audience on Facebook. But I think social media should come before and after the conversion, which would be done with PPC and SEO. It will be more clear at the end when I sum it up. So we talked about inbound lead generation, but what I'm really excited about is outbound lead generation. It's something that we've been doing for 6 months in our team, and it was difficult to start, but the real question was like, okay, we are not always generating enough inbound leads. How can we grow our leads and good quality leads in another way? So when inbound is passive, outbound is active. So outbound enables you to generate leads on your term, and it can help you grow much faster, especially when you don't have a big trust on their search engines, and you don't have huge marketing budgets, for example. So you can get predictable results, and it's very targeted. You can say, well, I want to target this person, and you send them an email, for example. Inbound and outbound lead generation are complementary. You should really try both at the same time. How should you structure your team for outbound lead generation? Well, we think that the best way to do that is to specialize the roles of your team. So you would have, for example, one person that's responsible for lead generation, one person that's responsible for customer satisfaction, and 2 account executives. So basically, you will have this type of specialization where your inbound leads, you have inbound leads and outbound reps, inbound reps and outbound reps. So to generate inbound and outbound leads, they will qualify these leads and pass them on to your account executives. Your account executives, their only job is to contact these qualified leads, set up presentations and meetings, and close the deals. And then you have what we call farmers that are going to accompany your new clients and help them to grow the account. So your people need to be focused on one single set of activities. We often see that lead generation, outbound lead generation, is very different from presentation, negotiation, and closing. So you should really try to specialize, or if you don't have the resources to have 4 people, set a particular number of hours in your day where you're going to prospect, for example. The key benefits of this type of organization is effectiveness, because people really become experts in their fields. You can also build insights at each step of the sale, and you can scale your organization. Let's say that you want to double your number of outbound leads. Well, you can add an outbound rep and teach him the skills to generate outbound leads. So once you have your team, how can you go about outbound lead generation? Well, the first thing is really to know who is your best customer. What industry can you help with your product or service? And who is the key decision maker in the organization you're trying to target? What is the revenue potential and the fit with your product? The thing that we see most often is that we often lose time trying to speak with people who are not decision makers, who don't have the potential to spend and to buy your product. So you really need to segment your list and try to target people who really matter. So down the line, you will have higher conversion rates, bigger deal sizes, and your account managers are going to be able to do their job much more efficiently. To build databases, so I'm talking about outbound lead generation. So you want to kind of find the contact details of the people you're targeting, and that's a job that requires a lot of time. You can use services to improve the process. You can purchase a database depending on your industry. You can also outsource list building. Me personally, I love Upwork. I've worked with them a few times, and I have a guy somewhere in the world. I give him the industry I want to target. I give him the function and the responsibilities of the people I want to target, the industry, and they will build a list. I pay per hour. They will build a list of these people, their contact details, email address, phone number. So the key here is to find a way to acquire lists and try different lists to see whether they're high quality lists or lower quality lists. And once you have your list, you want to get in front of these prospects with cold emails and follow-up calls. So typically, to give you an idea of what works, you need to send a lot of emails in order to have a few responses. So you might want to try with around 50 to 100 outbound cold emails per day. You might want to target key decision makers, such as you send an email to the director of a company presenting your service in a few lines, and asking to that person, can you refer me to the person in your organization who is responsible for this? And you really want to segment your lists. So for example, let's say you're like us, we work with several industries. Well, you can build a list per industry. So your email template is going to be personalized for that industry and more relevant to the person who receives it. The advantage also of this type of strategy, so outbound cold emailing, is that you may arrive in front of a decision maker before he even wants to take the decision to use your product or your service. Because typically with inbound lead generation, so people are looking for your product and service on Google, well, they probably already contacted 2 or 3 of your competitors at the same time. With outbound lead generation, you will be able to contact someone before he took the decision himself to go outsource or to go look for a product and service. So it's a very effective way also to not be to not be in a competitive space, or at least not at the same time as your competitors. Yeah, just I forgot. So I put here it's a HubSpot marketing platform. It's a marketing automation software company. The advantage of this type of software is that you have a sales software, you have a marketing software, and you have a CRM software. So you can, for example, send cold outbound emails, and at the same time you can use it as a CRM. So you don't target people, for example, who are already in your CRM, and you can really track all the interactions with that client. So probably you will see that you send them a cold email a few months ago. They attended an event that you did last week, and you call them today, and you will have all that in your software, and that will really help you to take decisions based on that data. So to sum it up, I created this chart. So what's interesting is, for example, let's say you're launching your product in January. The thing you could start with is inbound with PPC, so pay-per-click, search marketing on AdWords and Bing, because at that stage you don't have any traction, you don't have any traffic, and you can start with outbound by targeting cold emailing and cold calling, for example. And we could go much more in details in these topics. I just scratched the surface, but just to give you an overview of what type of strategy you can use. In March, you have a database because you did PPC and you acquired email addresses. So you can use CRM and email, continue using PPC. In June, you start to see the first results from your SEO that you have been doing for 6 months. You can also organize a webinar, usually for more complex products and services, such as what I'm selling. Education works very well, so webinar is a great way to educate your audience to your products and services. In July, you might get a few referrals, and you might try a video campaign. And in October, you might try to do an event. And all this kind of builds upon itself with always, during all this timeline, an outbound strategy where you're generating, let's say, I don't know, 10 to 20 outbound leads per month, and you can systematically, you can predictably know that in 5 months you will generate 10 leads per month from your outbound. Whereas inbound, where it's more of a process, where in 2 years' time you will generate much more inbound leads, many more inbound leads than you are now. So yeah, the main So I know you guys like to have a kind of a budget and time that you can spend on each activity. It's more practical. We thought about it a lot, and we think that there's like three main objectives. The first one is building awareness among your audience. So that would be through, for example, SEO and content. We think that you should allocate not more than 10 to 20% of your time. I know many startups who start with SEO and allocate way more time than they should, more like 80 to 100%. But at that stage, you should probably spend less on SEO and more on converting users. So on a budget of 1,000 euros, you would probably spend 100 euros on four articles for your website to optimize your SEO. You would probably spend 500 to 600 euros on pay-per-click advertising and outbound lead generation. So paying for the softwares, paying for the lists, sending emails, paying for the people to do it, and the remaining 10 to 20%, 100 to 200 euros, to build loyalty. And you will build loyalty with your email marketing campaigns, and through your customer success teams and managers. So just to give you an overview of the whole process. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm open to a Q&A session. Was quicker than I thought, actually.
What's the conversion rate of your outbound marketing? For example, I don't know, in comparison with the inbound marketing?
Yeah. Actually, good question. I don't have a figure in mind. I really could not tell you. I can tell you about the response rate on emails. You could probably get if your emails are targeted well enough, and if they're not too long and what you're selling is interesting, you could probably get 5 to 9% response, but that's not a conversion rate. With just response rate, so you really have to send a lot of emails to convert a lot of to get sales. But that's actually something that we're trying to figure out ourselves, trying to get the data, but we don't have enough volume yet. That's very interesting, metric to follow. Thank you.
Wait, please.
Do you have?
Oh, it's loud.
Do you have specific advices for middle-sized businesses to big enterprises?
For sorry?
To sell.
For what type of business?
For software to sell to middle-sized businesses to big enterprises.
For me, it's mostly outbound.
Yeah.
I think it's important to really to target a few buyers and to. I see a lot of B2B sales to companies strategies where at the beginning they really focus on, and that's what we do as well, on 100 or key accounts where you absolutely want to be, and you have to create a marketing plan for these accounts where you're probably going to send them emails, probably going to send them letters over a few weeks, over a few months. And really, be in their mind. They have to know you. You have to be with the right person, and it takes time. Our average, I don't have the exact figures, but our average sales cycle is like 60 to 90 days. So you have to first. It takes time when you hire people for them to have enough knowledge about your product or service to be able to really close deals, have a high conversion rate. And it also just takes time because it's enterprise sales and there's many decision makers, and so yeah, that's my piece of advice is what I told you here.
Is it what is the right size to target? Is it 10 of them, 20, 50, 100, and trying to get known by them?
It depends also on your size, it depends on many things. We ask ourselves who are our best clients, like how much should they spend? Have they already used an agency before? I mean, you kind of have to refine. I think my answer would be start small, try to refine the criterias where you can really be the best answer to these people, like more than your competitors, and really differentiate yourself. And then when you're able to go into these accounts, but grow the target size, try to target a wider audience of companies. But start small, start with really your key benefits and where you can have the most impact, and after grow it.
Yeah, because the problem is the time you spend and the volume of the people of the target. I mean, if you spend 3 months on a target, you can get more targets.
Yeah.
And what is the time you have to allocate to build quality, kind of quality relationship?
Yeah, I see what you mean, but the thing is, like, for me, it's better to have a little bit more volume, because when you have too few targets, for me, you don't sell well. You're dependent on closing a few deals to make your objectives, and so you're eager to sell, more eager. So I think you need to find the right balance between quality and quantity, but still have enough quantity to not be like begging your customer to buy right now. You see what I mean? Like.
What is the best frequency between different mails you send to one people? I guess it could be different if you buy an email or if they register to your service. But I don't want to spam, but I want them to keep me in mind. Yeah.
And yeah, I forgot to mention when you do outbound emailing, you have to follow up, because the first email won't get a lot of replies, but. The frequency, well, it depends. I usually, when I send outbound cold emails, I use some software that automates the follow-up, and I usually follow up very aggressively at the beginning. So like every 3 days for like 2 or 3 times, and then every week. And the total length is, that's what I'm trying now. The total length is probably 21 to 30 days. And if they haven't replied after like 7 follow-ups, basically, they will go to my newsletter campaign. But you really have to try it out. If it's the right people that you're targeting, they should be interested in what you have to say. And often they're just too busy to answer the first 2 or 3 emails. But that you have to try it out, and you also have to be very concise and write short emails, not really salesy emails, but more like friendly emails, like hi, that's what I'm doing. Do you have some time, or is it interesting to you? And so that way, the person your goal at the beginning is just to get an answer, even if it's no. Well, fine, but just you need to get a reply, so that person, that person. At least acknowledged your email. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, you have to try.
Yeah, you have to try. But I've discovered a tool that's really great for that. It's called maybe some of you are going to hate it, but it's called Rebump, and it's like you can create sequences of follow-up emails. Automatic sequences of follow-up emails, you just like BCC or CCE that email address in your emails, and then and you have different BCC email addresses per sequence that you build, and then you can automate the follow-up for like a month, and that's a great way to not spend your time on following up all the mails that you send, because imagine you send 50 emails per day. You can't spend, it will take you at least half a day to follow up, even more, and so it's just not feasible. So you kind of need to find tools to automate that process.
Merci. I just want to know what works the best for you, cold emailing or cold calling?
But usually in terms, I don't have the exact, again, I don't have the exact figures. Personally, the thing is, it's sometimes more difficult to find the email, the phone numbers, the direct phone numbers, than the email addresses. And the advantage of emailing, as I said, is going through emailing higher than your target and getting referred by, for example, the founder or the director of the company, which works better and serves as an introduction, whereas cold calling is kind of annoying and disturbing. So it can work as well, but I'd say it's easier to build a predictable process if you're able to email consistently a lot of people than if you're trying to call. And plus, it's very difficult to get people to cold call. People don't like to cold call. People don't like to receive cold calls. So for me, it's kind of I'm not sure yet. It's kind of like a old strategy that still works if you call the good persons. But I think email is can be the first introduction and work well like that. Okay, well, cool. Thank you. Thank you.
Que la famille.